All right, next here on valve adjustments, we're going to talk about adjusting hydraulic lifters. Just so you understand what's going on with a hydraulic lifter, there is a plunger inside here, and that's where the oil fills up underneath the plunger area. And I'll show you right here, it actually has movement down there. I can push it in and out. There's probably at least 3/16 of an inch of movement down there that the plunger can go up and down. Some textbooks and owner's manuals will tell you when you're building a new motor to stick hydraulic lifters in oil and let them fill up with oil. And then you look in a performance book and they'll say not to do that. Here at Badass Racing Engines, we decide to do it the dry way, where there's no oil inside. That way we know where the plunger level is going to be. And I'll show you what that is. That's what they call setting the preload. Hydraulic lifters are really easy to adjust when they're new like that and when they're empty. Basically, you want to find get the valves on the back side of the camshaft on what they call the base circle of the cam. So we're just going to turn the engine over here. We're going to watch. This is the exhaust valve. It's right in line with the exhaust port right here. Here's the exhaust port, the exhaust valve. So we're going to run this. It's opening. Now it's closing. This is the overlap mode. So now this is going to close. Now the intake valve is going to open. So we're just going to run that down. Run it on up. There we go. Now they're even. Now we're just going to give it about a quarter turn more just to be sure we're on the back side of the cam lobes, that we're not up on anything. Now, hydraulic cams, they use a zero lash, which means there's always contact between the roller tip or just the tip of the rocker arm and the valve tip. They're always in contact. So we want to get what we call a zero lash. Easy way to do that, just put your fingers back here on the push rod. When it's loose, you can move it up and down and it rotates real easy. Okay, just rotate that with your fingers, tighten this nut down until you just start to feel little resistance right there. That's zero lash with no preload. Now what we want to do, you can just take a wrench. You want to try and find something like a 12 o'clock area and just give it about a half turn. About a half turn like that. And when you're done, you can lock the poly lock down right here. Give it a cinch. That's locked. Same thing with this. We can do the same thing. Run it down. We can turn the back of the push rod. Run it down right here till we just feel resistance. Put this on here. You can use just a regular wrench like this. If you want to do something a little fancier, we use these also. We can put this on right here. Give it about a half turn and lock it down. Just give it a cinch here. Done. That set the preload right there. Now some books might tell you, if you look in a performance engine building book or just a factory book, that they want 3/4 of a turn or 1 full turn. You don't really want to do that. The reason is on a performance motor, you might have heard of anti-pump up lifters or lifters pumping up. What that means is the plunger in here, you don't want to push it down too far. If you push it down too far, what can happen is when the engine hits a high RPM and the oil pressure kicks way up, it can actually fill the lifter up beyond where it wants to be filled up, and the plunger starts working its way up. Well, as it works its way up, it increases the push rod length, which pushes the valve down farther. Now the valve can't close. It's not closed all the way. It's off the seat. So you can either run real bad because you don't have a seal in the heads. The valves aren't sealing, which are making cylinder pressure. Or worse yet, they hit Mr. Piston, and Mr. Piston closes it for you, and that's an ugly situation. So with performance motors, you want very minimal, maybe between 10 and 20 thousandths of an inch of plunger depth. Some lifters, aftermarket racing lifters, hydraulic lifters, only want 6 to 10 thousandths, which is nothing. I mean, that's a quarter of a turn. That way they can't pump up because the plunger is only pushed down a little ways. It's only pushed down like 10 thousandths of an inch. So if it pumps up on accident for you, it can't really pump it up enough to open that valve too far and cause severe engine damage. We'll go on to solid lifters next.